Greetings, fellow Kerbonauts, and welcome to a beautiful day in the verse. Today, we are playing Kerbal Space Program. Now, Kerbal Space Program isn't new to me. It's not a new game. It's been out for a while, and I have put a lot of hours into it. I think I have almost 600 hours into it now. But I have spent a lot of time away from it. So, we are going to disregard this old save. We're going to make a new save completely and make somewhat of a series out of it. So I'm going to play the career mode because I like career mode. I'm going to put it on hard because I like to challenge myself. Now I have no mods installed, but I did import the RSI logo because I figured I would keep a little bit of Star Citizen in this series. So our space program is going to be called Roberts Space Industries, of course. Only the people that watch my Star Citizen videos would actually understand what that is. Well, I suppose you don't have to watch Star Citizen videos to know what Star Citizen is. If you're into any sort of space game, you probably know what Star Citizen is. So, other than my self-imported RSI logo, we don't have any mods at all for this first episode, but the next episode and all future episodes, I will slowly trickle mods in. I just wanted to keep it clean for this first episode because I spent so long away from the game. I don't know what mods are still relevant. I don't know which mods work and which ones won't work, etc. So I figured I'd keep it clean for the first episode, and then I can figure all that stuff out slowly figure out which still work and which are still relevant and which are irrelevant. So let's get straight into it and make our starter ship. Now obviously, because we're in career mode, we have very limited parts that we can use, so it's not going to be anything fancy. It's just going to be a little stick, but I'm going to name it Zeus, and those that are into Star Citizen lore may or may not get that reference, but yeah, we're going to name it Zeus. This is going to be our first ship to ever fly, not necessarily go to space, but we may, when we get the other future tech, we may stick with the Zeus and just sort of redesign the Zeus, and maybe it'll be our first ship in space. Who knows? Possibly. Not sure what version it'll be now. I could probably get to space with this first ship if I did some sort of glitchy stuff where you stack thrusters on top of each other and they blow each other up, and you use that to sort of simulate staging, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep it somewhat realistic. So we're just going to have a very simple ship with a couple bits of science. Going to do our contracts, and yeah, I think this is pretty much all we can do. We probably could put more. Oh, this is new. The KSP, or at least I think this is new. I don't recognize it, but that's pretty cool. Pretty nice of them to implement that, so people aren't so confused by everything. Now, even though I have 600 hours, I've never actually left Kerbin, and I know to a lot of people that's probably unbelievable and slightly pathetic. But yeah, I've only gone to the moon and Minmus 1 billion times. I've been there a lot. I've mastered the moon landings and the Minmus landings, but I've never actually left Kerbin because I've always been too scared to leave Kerbin. So I'm going to make that my sort of mini goal for this series, is to obviously try to get to a different planet, one that I've never been to. That way it's new for me, and it's possibly new for you guys, but you guys have probably already seen it. I'm going to disable the quick loading and quick save and sort of stuff, the reverting time. So if we make a mistake, we have to stick with it, because that's the way I like to roll. I like to stick with my mistakes. You know, if I kill Jebediah in the first flight, then so be it. It'll be a story to tell in the future. I'm just going to have a quick look if there's anything else that may be of interest to me, though I'm not seeing anything that's interesting. So I think we'll stick with that. We'll stick with just the no quick loading and and that jazz. The graphics look lower than I remember. I know it's never had the greatest of graphics, but yeah, I've got it set as high as it'll possibly go, but it just looks a bit pixely. I'm not quite sure why, but nevertheless, I've probably lowered the thrust on this a little too much, but then again, we are now picking up a lot of speed, so maybe I didn't. But let's get a mystery goo, just flying up, and then I think the second mystery goo I'll probably get in the ocean. That way we try and maximize as much science as possible in our first flight, and we'll also break a few records, I think, a few speed records. Nothing impressive, because obviously we're about to run out. There we go, we ran out of fuel. We are now just free falling. Hopefully this parachute's enough to stop us. I wouldn't like to kill Jebediah straight away. I probably should have recruited a little minion to use instead of Jebediah, but nevertheless, Jebediah will do the job, and hopefully this parachute stops us. I'm thinking it should. I would like it to go down engine first, but it doesn't seem to want to cooperate, so I'm just going to put it in nose first and pray for the best. Hope it doesn't flip us around too quickly. Okay, that was a bit vicious, but we survived, so let's time warp and get to the ground. Do our little ballerina dance of victory down to the ocean, extremely slowly. And we'll get some science from the ocean as well. I want to try and maximize science, because obviously these first few episodes are going to be somewhat boring, especially if you've watched KSP videos before and you've seen all this sort of growth process. It's probably going to be a bit boring because we don't really have anything fun to play with. So I want to get loads of science so I can build some fun designs, possibly build some Star Citizenships and sort of implement them into the series. I mean, I'm not sure how many of them would be practical, and they might just end up being built just for show, but a few of them could be practical. So I could make like an M50 and I could make that work as a fighter sort of jet plane. The 300 series I could possibly do. I'm not sure how the wings would function. The wings might be a bit weird to get working, but yeah. Freelancer we could have as some sort of space shuttle, I suppose. Possibly, maybe. Might have to do a little bit of an alteration, but yeah, we'll see what we can and what we cannot do. But that is our first flight. Jebediah came back alive. He got his 1 experience. All is good. We got quite a bit of science, so let's see what we can get with said science. So there are a few things I want to go for. So I want to go for this, definitely, because I want the decoupler. But I also need the fuel tank, realistically. But let's see what we can do with a decoupler. I mean, that's obviously going to drastically increase the distance we can go, because we could just have loads of decouple stages. But yeah, we got 2 of these. One of these is, well, it's not new. The model's old, but it's sort of, the name's changed. They look exactly the same. I'm trying to figure out what would be the benefit of the Communitron 16. Because I know this one can break off when it's extended. And the other one can't break off. So why you would go for the one that can break, I don't know. But maybe I'll find out in the future. I would like to get this as well, because I want the radial decouplers, but we don't have enough science for that. We do have enough science for survivability, but radiator panel, interesting. But there's nothing in survivability that we necessarily need right now. We don't really need like the drogue shoots. Okay, we got a lot more contract missions now. Some of them I'm not going to be able to do, like this one, because this is take a crew report in flight below 19,000 at a very specific point. So we're going to need like some sort of plane, or at least some sort of precise flight device to get that. we could do this, I suppose. I mean, that's just testing it landed, so that we could do. Test the decoupler. Yeah, that seems like an easy one to do as well. We could do that. If we put that on the pod, we could do that when we're re-entering, because we'll probably get over 8,000. Especially with the stack decoupler. So we need to test this. Now the problem is I didn't get the tech that had the fuel tank. So we may need to go out and get that. I could just stick it on the bottom, but I'd like to make it functional and not just literally test it just for the sake of it. But yeah, we may have to go out and get that liquid fuel tank, because we do not start with a liquid fuel tank. And the first liquid fuel tank we get is that tech that I didn't get. So let's save and continue. And let's go get that liquid fuel tank. Just so we can make something of it. We might be able to breach into space, possibly. I think if I fly carefully enough, I might be able to. But the order that I do this isn't going to be conventional, because typically I would have solid fuels as the first stage, but we have to test this liquid fuel engine landed at Kerbin, so we have to make that liquid fuel engine the first stage at some point. So yeah, not sure, because I mean we can't really just stick. I suppose we could just stick the engine on the bottom. I'm getting all sorts of lost. Where was that stack decoupler? There it is. So I suppose we could. It would be extremely silly and make no sense, but we could just stick that stack decoupler on the bottom and then just put the engine on it. I believe that would count as testing, and then I'd just put the engine and the decoupler on the same stage, and then that way they're not to be bothered. They won't bother us. So if we put those two together, yeah. So if we do it like that, and then we've got that final one, and then we've got a parachute. This should work. It's not going to make any sense, because obviously we've got an engine that's just not going to function because it's got no fuel. But yeah, I don't really want to start off with it. I mean, I could have just started off with liquid fuel, and it probably would have got a lot further. But whatever. Did that even complete it? I don't know. I think it did. And that ran out extremely quickly. I'm gonna cut the throttle down. I'm not sure if they've changed the flight physics to change what terminal velocity is, but I'm assuming it's not changed drastically. We are just flying through the atmosphere at the moment, way quicker than we should be. Just slow that right down. Things are exploding. Jebediah is waving. Typical day in Kerbal Space Program. So yeah, we definitely got over 8,000 meters, which is nice. So we can do both of our contracts. Now that we're over 10,000, I'm just gonna gun it for the rest of this fuel. Let's have a look. Okay, we're nowhere near space yet. Might be able to just push it into space, but doubtful. Nah, we didn't get into space. We don't have enough speed. But it was still a nice effort. Still going to break a bunch of records. So let's just warp on down. And I think after this landing, I'll have a look at the science, and then I think I'll end this first episode. Now, I'm not sure if I'll sort of skip bits. I would like to sort of record every bit of the process, but I might just sort of skip out a bit of this starting bit, so just the getting the tech to the point where we can build something sensible, because obviously this isn't really a sensible rocket. I mean, obviously for a first rocket or a second rocket, it kind of is, but yeah, it's not really entertaining, just sort of going up and then down and then splash. So I might cut some bits out, I might not. We'll see. I think next episode should obviously be a lot more fun. We should have a lot more to play with, because hopefully once we land this and get this, we should have enough for the stack decoupler. And once we get the stack decoupler, we can do a lot more stuff. We could get to space quite easily. So do that. That completes that mission or contract, whatever you want to call them. That job, the thing that the green guy asked us to do, Gringo, and we will come to a nice safe landing. Parachute. So the parachutes are a lot softer than they were when I played. Last time I played, they deployed like instantly. It brought you to a complete stop, and you was at the risk of dying from the impact of the parachute opening, because if you had something like connected to your pod, it most likely would have ripped off the pod. But it seems they've tweaked it out, and it's a bit more gradual now, which is quite nice. I like it. I dig it. So we'll splash down. We'll get some more ocean stuff. Yeah, let's get an EVA report. We already have that, but whatever. And I think we already have this one as well. Yeah, we already have that one. So no point bothering with that. So we'll get back in. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. Well, have you ever wanted a blueprint? That's an easy way of getting a blueprint of your landed vessel. Alright, let's see what we got. What science? What science goodness did we get from this? So we did get enough to get that, so we can get the radial decouplers now. That is quite nice. We don't have enough science for anything else, obviously. We've only got 9.7 left, but we'll buy the radial decoupler, I'll buy the wings, and I'll buy that. I could have just pressed the buy all button, but I like to be awkward. So that's all for this video, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. I mean, I like playing KSP, and I'm the kind of guy that I'm only gonna record stuff I like playing. I've been tempted to sort of get into Elite Dangerous and do those videos as well, because I know a few of you want me to do Elite Dangerous, but truth be told, I just don't enjoy Elite Dangerous, and I don't want to force myself to play something I don't enjoy. But KSP, a few of you guys asked for KSP, and I do love playing KSP. It is a really addictive game that I can just sink a ton of hours into and just go into merry land. So I will see you guys in the next video. Laters taters.